War Eagle Auburn family, welcome back to another edition of E2C Network Live, where we get together, we sit down, and we talk about what's going on in the world of the Auburn family spectrum. We're always heavy on the sports here on this channel, but if it's orange and blue, it is what we do. Thank you for joining us for a very impromptu, unscheduled, and a little out of place live stream. We've never done one this early in the morning, although we've done one like 2 a.m. or something like that for baseball when it was over in Oregon for the World Series or the regional play. But today, we're going to go ahead and give you guys just a very brief, short post-game reaction show. We were unable to do that last night, and I'm a bit of a completist, so I don't want to miss an opportunity to talk about Auburn basketball, especially on this YouTube channel. So this is going to be, again, a very short impromptu. I know people may not even be able to watch this live, but if you are able to watch it live, make sure you do the normal stuff. You check in, post where you're watching from, city, state, international. Would love to hear from you, your thoughts on the games, things that I'm going to talk about on here. And also, as a quick aside too, well, and the last reminder, make sure you smash the like button. If you guys would like something early in the morning, even if you can't watch it live, let me know. I've always kind of thought about doing something in the morning, at least a topical conversation or a shorter video, even if it was just live. Let me know if you guys kind of like having a little something from me early in the morning to watch throughout the day, or to check in live if you can. But I know most people are working. All right. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. A little post-game reaction. We will be doing these all season, right after the games most of the time. This is just one of those times it did not happen. 87-69, the Auburn Tigers take down Alabama-Huntsville Chargers. Pretty solid win when you look at this point spread. You would expect Auburn to be pushing up into close to the 20 mark in terms of how much of a difference of points they would have. And they very much did that tonight. Frustrating thing about this game, as it is for some of the early games in this day and age, we're able to watch most of them. If you've got an ESPN Plus account, things like that, you were actually not able to watch this unless you were in person, which is very frustrating for us. You know, I love listening to Rod, and it was Brad Law last night. I guess Sonny will be back later this season to listen to their perspectives of it and obviously enjoy them telling it. But it's another thing to watch it entirely. There was actually a little bit of confusion. It seemed like people had interpreted that their broadcast of them doing the call, which you can actually see them, would show the game too, and it did not. I did not get my hopes up about that because I did not want it to to get me disappointed. Let's talk a little bit about some stats from this in our very brief short time today. We got Wendell Green Jr. with 12 points. Jalen Williams leads the way with 16 points. Trey Donaldson with 10 points. And then Alan Flanagan with 11 points as well. So the interesting thing about all of this, when you look at like your top scores, people, mostly would assume probably Janai Broom, maybe a Yawan Traore would be at the top of the stat sheet in terms of points. And they weren't tonight. But I think that continues to show you how well-rounded this team is. Now, listen. Coach even said on his post-game press conference, which you can actually watch here on the channel, so go check that out if you haven't as well, that he's still kind of mixing and matching. So that's kind of, also going to affect who scores what, who has what stats right now, while they're still mixing and matching who works best together. But what it's nice to see is two veteran guys towards the top of the scoring list. Jalen Williams, I have, preached to the high heavens how much of a Jalen Williams fan I am. I think he is very undervalued and underappreciated by a lot of people, especially Auburn fans. And I do think that he's going to have a great year as well. I'm not going to sit here and say he's, going to be a Jabari Smith or anything like that, but he is. I've heard him called before, and I forget who to attribute this to, a Swiss Army knife. He'll score some points for you. And he did this in 12 minutes of play, had a lot of foul trouble, which is, just impressive in and of itself. So very happy with Jalen Williams leading the stat sheet tonight in terms of scoring. So also you had Wendell Green on there, not a shock for being one of the top scorers tonight. Alan Flanagan, you look at 11 points and you don't go, wow, that's an amazing stat sheet for him. But, if you listen to the game, or if you're at the game, if you heard coach talk about it, and then, just kind of discussions online about it, the story is Alan Flanagan is back, and it really, really he looked good last night in terms of, stats overall. So he had 11 points on the night, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, only 2 personal fouls, and only 2 turnovers in 23 minutes of play. He's 2 for 2 from free throws, 1 for 3 from beyond the 3-point arc. So when you look at Allen Flanigan's game right there, yes, you would think you might score a little bit more. This is the first game overall, but a very good stat sheet for him overall. So happy to see that what we're hearing from coach, what we're hearing from a lot of other people, that this is the Allen Flanigan of old. That's a really good sign that this is probably going to be true by the end of this thing. So just looking at those top scores right there off the bat, nothing really much to say about Wendell other than what he just does, what we're used to him doing. Other stats from the game: Chris Moore with 3 points, Zep Jasper with 4 points, Juwan Traore with 9, Dylan Cardwell with 6. Katie Johnson struggled from the 3-point arc, 0 of 6. So that's not a good sign, but hey, he'll shoot himself out of it. Katie Johnson with 8 points total. Janai Broom with only 6. And he also, one thing to note there, and that he only played 10 minutes. I think he was coming back either from an injury or just a little bit of kind of a sickness as well. I may have heard that wrong from coach, but I thought he said that in his press conference. He also banged his knee one time with an individual, which doesn't seem to be too bad, but we want to keep an eye on that. And then you saw a bunch of other guys get some time at the end to contribute. Chandler Leopard. Chandler Leopard. I always mess that up. Got some points as well. Really briefly, as we round out our time here, like I told you, this is going to be a really brief one. Just wanted to get it out there and do the post-game reaction show because I'm a completist. I hate not doing it. And I hated that I couldn't do it last night. Looking at team stats, 47% from the field for Auburn. Not too bad. Almost 1 out of every 2 shots they're making. 3-point percentage, 22%. You're definitely going to want to hope that's a little bit better. 6 for 27 from the field. Auburn, kind of relies on the way they play on being able to knock down 3-pointers a little bit better than that. Obviously, against the opponent like Alabama-Huntsville, that's not as big of an issue. Now, the interesting thing, too, is people are going to just kind of say, it's an exhibition game. It's Alabama-Huntsville. This is a pretty good team in terms of just, comparatively, right? This is not an SEC caliber team, but in their respective league. Bruce even said, and I know he says that a lot, this was a pretty good team. They tied it up a couple times, or at least one time with Auburn, fought back into it. This is a team that you really don't want to just lay down and assume that you're going to be able to walk all over them. Free throw percentage, you got a lot better throughout the night. It started off horribly. I'm going to harp on that all season. If you're going to be watching this, 68%. Definitely not good. I want 80%. But that's just my high standards that I will continue to harp on. 18 turnovers for the Tigers compared to 25 for UAH. So there is that to consider as well. So without our limited time that I have this morning, I won't have an opportunity to dive further into the stats, into any questions that you guys might have had after the fact. I'll try to come back and talk to you about that. A couple reminders: going live tonight with a pregame preview of Auburn football versus Mississippi State. Hope you can join us at 8 p.m. Eastern time, and be sure to subscribe, hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. So you're also entered into our subscriber giveaway for post-game show reactions like this. I really appreciate you guys hanging out with us tonight, or this morning actually, and spending a little bit of time with me watching this on the replay if you did. Till we talk to you again, War Eagle.